Hello, everybody. We got another Tuesdays with Tony Benny show. It's my very last one leading into the convention next week. I'm very happy to do this show for the PWNA. The convention is going to be great. Everything's going great there. We got some great vendors. We got a lot of contractors going. So we have a lot of stuff going on there. We have a lot of stuff going on all around. But I'm very honored tonight to finally get the PWNA president, Bojo, said to come on this show because, eventually you have to get to the top. When you start down here and you're working and talking to people, you want to work your way up. And I finally got myself to the very top. And if we can get him in here, the PWNA president, Bojo, said he should be coming on. Hey, Bo, how are you?
Hey, when you're on Tuesdays with Tony Benny, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah, listen to you. See, Bo's always about the sale. He's like, the Tuesdays with Tony Benny show is a nice show. And if I'm on with you, we're doing good. So that's a compliment. Thank you, Bo. I'm glad to finally get you on here. Tell us what's going on. Like, you got a lot of stuff going on. I mean, let's talk about the God, I could talk to Bo for hours here. We're going to keep this show about, less than 45 minutes if we can. We will. But tell us about, let's talk about the conventions coming up next week.
Well, yeah, there's always a lot going on leading up to a convention, and I'm coming to you live from a secluded place that nobody knows about. New location for me, and getting ready. I'm actually leaving tomorrow to head to Florida. I've got some things to do before the convention. I will get to Shingle Creek on Sunday.
Okay.
The PWNA will have our board meeting, face-to-face board meeting all day long on next Tuesday. And during that time frame, we'll also meet with CETA, have a face-to-face with CETA. And then, Wednesday, you and Carlos Gonzalez come in and you kind of kick it off like the pregame for the convention. You have your classes, and then Thursday it's hit the ground running.
I talked to Carlos on the phone today, and he's like, John, when are you coming in? Now, I have a house in South Florida I got to deal with the hurricane. We got lucky on that. Got a couple of things I have to take care of, but I'm coming in Wednesday night, and he's coming in Tuesday night because his class is Wednesday. And I said to Carlos, I should probably came in a day early, but we're still very busy here. So I am coming in Wednesday night. My class is 12 to 4. I think everything worked out perfect for me because the kickoff is at 4:15. I think Thursday, right? You know what, Bo? Watch.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but you know what I do?
think it is Thursday. You have the schedule there?
The whole schedule right here. Let's just take a look. We don't want to give any false advertisement here. So Wednesday, October 12th, we have we have a lot of classes there. Go to pwna.org. There's a lot of classes going on. I got to raise my light here. But Thursday, my class is at 12 to 4. And you got the kickoff and keynote speaker, Ted Ma. Tell us a little about Ted Ma. I heard of him. What's that all about, Ted Ma? The keynote speaker. What's he going to talk about? Do you know?
I do not. Okay. All I know is he comes highly recommended.
Yes.
It's a lot of being a joint convention. A lot of the speakers are put together not only by the PWNA, obviously, but CETA as well. And then got IWCA, UAMCC involved in this as well. So I don't know anything about some of the speakers.
Right.
I know a lot about others. So
you know what, I got to tell you something. I heard of Ted Ma. And if he's coming into this convention, he's going to be somebody that's really good. And the nice thing here is, Bo, is you and I and a lot of us are going to be surprised. It's nice to go into something and the guy's known. I know people that know of him. So it's going to be a nice surprise to find out what he's talking about as we sit in the crowd, because sometimes the element of surprise is a good thing.
Well, and sometimes the element of surprise, you're surprised at how bad some things are. But
yeah, I know.
And I won't get into that. But
yeah,
but listen, there are these kinds of speakers.
Right.
The element of surprise can literally change your company and your mentality. We go to these conventions, events all year long. Many of us. I mean, in my duties for the PWNA, have been to probably averaging 4 or 5 events a year for the last 3 or 4 years, COVID notwithstanding. But sometimes when you miss those kind of keynote speakers, you really regret it. And I miss a lot of those because I'm off doing other things and being pulled in different directions. I want to sit and listen to this guy from what I've been told and what I hear, along with some of the others, because I don't generally get to do that too much. But yes, I've heard great things about him.
You know, when I think of you, Bo, I think of this. I got a hat on. These are a whole bunch of hats. You got so many hats going on in your head that you got to you have to try to stay on top of all that, and that's a lot to stay on top of.
Well, and I forgot your hat because I literally just moved into this place today. Okay, right. I got a lot of things happening. This is a new dwelling for me. I'm starting a new company. It's a resident and office all in one. And so I don't have that hat. I was going to wear it. I didn't want to mess up my hair though.
Yeah,
so I kind of.
Bo's got to look right for the look. We're talking to the PWA president. He can't come in looking like this and everything.
Well, that's how I was going to wear it too. I was going to wear it crooked like that just to show off PWA.
Hey, you know, I never thought of that. Just to talk to, we have some people on tonight. Bo knows Jim Van Handel is going to be there. Support fellas. Papian de Hughes, let's go. I'm here. John.
Hey, let me just say something. I'm glad. So Jim Van Handel, you are going. I've never met him in person. I talked to him on the phone. I know he doesn't go to a lot of these things, but I'm glad he's going, and I'd like to sit down and get some information out of him as well.
Yeah, Jim's got a really nice business. I know Jim for like 15 years. John J. Locke, God bless you, man. We hope he's got this infection he got on his leg. He's been back in the hospital. I had sepsis a couple of years. I understand what he's going through. So, John, hey, we're pulling for you, bro.
Get better, John. I spent a good couple of days with John at the Huge. We had a kind of an eventful time there, and it was fun.
You know, it's funny. I like him. I like him on. We're gonna go off course here for a second. I like people sometimes the way they post, but the way they post doesn't mean they're that person. But J-Lock, J-Lock, everybody I know that knows him, they say he's a lot of fun to hang out with. So
no, he is.
Yep.
Especially after hours, from what I've heard. I've never hung out with him after hours. I'm just saying.
Well, yeah. You know, sometimes what they say in Vegas, what happens there stays there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So Jim Van Handel says an investment in knowledge is the best investment. Yeah, Jim Van Handel is. I think he won a free convention pass on one of the shows. I'm not sure if it was him.
He did. I think it was the first show you did. He won.
He's a snake. I tell you, Jim, you're always thinking ahead of the game. Jim and I met Jim just to go back on that. We met him at Tom Vogel's event, you know, ACR Products, you know, Tom, way back when, maybe 2006 or 8. He also was at the Huge. And I think Jim Van Handel went to a PWA convention before I ever did. So he's a great guy. People, you have to understand these conventions, these classes. I mean, the class list is huge. You know, this is a huge. I mean, I wouldn't go over this tonight, talk about this. We could be on it for a long time, but when you go to these conventions, Bo, as you know, you run into a guy like Jim Van Handel's got a multi-million-dollar business, and I network with these guys at the bar. Let me just tell you one more thing. That tech company I was dealing with, one of the guys are going to be at that convention. We're going to sit at the bar. This is a $90 billion company. One of the guys are going to be there. We're going to sit at the bar and talk shop. I met the guy that's going to be there at a 2012 PWA convention. So the networking is huge. So that's a big part of these events. Huge.
I got the networking to me is the biggest part.
Yes.
And for the new guys out there that might be listening and see this, when you can run into a guy like Jim Van Handel, a guy like Daryl Mirza, a guy like John Tornabene, you know, and others. I mean, I could sit here and name dozens of them out there. Go sit next to him, buy him a drink, talk to him. One of the best things about these things is you get knowledge from other contractors that do what you do, but they're not trying to hide anything because generally they're not your competitors. And it's not like they got to hide how they do things. You can get a lot of nuggets, you know, ideas, ways to change and do things from guys from all over the country or different markets that have no problem sharing it with you. That was one of the biggest things I learned early on. And today, I mean, even myself going to so many of these things, I will, even if I'm not teaching, or I'm just hanging out, whatever I'm doing, I will learn something from somebody no matter what. Even if it's a newbie.
Right.
You know, you talk to some of these new guys have new ways of doing things. You know, just stupid little tricks with equipment or whatever tips that I mean, I haven't been in the field in almost 10 years now. I got to rely on my guys to tell me what changes need to be made with some of the equipment, other than what I see on social media or from our vendors. So, yeah.
That's first of all, J-Lock, he would be at the convention, but he can't. Johnny, send me your address. I'm going to send you one of these hats. It's a PWA and Cedar. Or as Bo says, wear it like this, right, Bo? Wear it like
exactly.
This.
Well, you can flip it around. We don't need to see the front too much. We need to see
the front. There
you go.
Take the jaw tournament anyway.
Well, and see, so I got my IPA here that I'm drinking. I don't know if everybody can see. It's hard to, but there you go. That is a PWA beer mug right there. You see that?
I got a few of those too. Yeah, it's all about branding. Branding is such a big thing in business and in conventions. The thing is, Ty Eubanks and Connor Eubanks, they have such a big company in California. I remember talking to Ty back in 2012. Dow Merz, I met him in 2004. At that point, I think he had 500 employees. See, the thing with me is, Bo, and you know this, Facebook has this position in life for people. So you get to learn some stuff, but you don't know who you're really talking to. But I talk about this all the time. I've seen Billy Joel in concert many times. If you tell me, John, Billy Joel's on YouTube, watch his concert, I can go a minute or two, I'm bored. When I go to his show, it's life-changing. You never forget it. So I remember when I first went to my first PWA convention in 2004, I remember I met Darryl Mercer there. I met so many people there. Michael Hinterleiter. You know what Michael Hinterleiter told me at one of the classes I went for the PWA? He actually was teaching a class, and he said this. Listen to this. He said he talked about his employees, and he said that he became friends with his employees. And what happened was, when you become too friendly or you hire your friends, you can run into problems because friends aren't really made to boss friends around. So he told me that he took his level to a different game, kept everything professional, and this is what he told me. The most valuable asset to your company is a good employee. That is so critical to my success because my employees are everything to me. Bo, you still there?
I'm here. I know. I see something happening here.
I mean, but you know what? That's okay. But when you think about this, I know you had employees. Like you say, you haven't been in the field in 10 years. I'm around the same, maybe a little bit longer. The people complain about employees all the time. But what I learned was, and I learned it at one of the PWA class I went to years ago with Michael, that you got to treat them with respect. You got to treat them as professionals. You don't treat them like, hey, Joe, let's go out for a couple of cocktails afterward, bro. And you're hanging out at a strip bar and everything else. No, you got to treat them as gold because they are the most valuable asset to your company. And the reason behind that is because they're the ones making your money. Yeah. I learned that at a convention. Never thought.
Well, and you mentioned Ty Eubanks earlier. Ty Eubanks was the first one I ever networked at a convention in 2013 in Orlando. That was my first convention, and I remember closing down the bar with Ty Eubanks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. It's fun to talk to.
Which is nothing new, and will happen again in next weekend, but. And that relationship, he was the first, and he was on the board at the time, and he was one of the first ones I met and just hit it off, and just you start picking the brain of guys like him, and it's invaluable.
It's so invaluable. Speaking of Ty Eubanks, in 2012, when I was there, he just became a board director for the PWA, and he was so enthusiastic. And people, if you meet Ty, he's probably going to do a lot of emceeing. Is he doing some emceeing? Bo, he's got to be doing emceeing. He always does emceeing at the
Ty is always the MC of the event, and it's perfect for him. He's great at it. Yeah, and yes, he will be. And I talked to him today about the whole presentation and the different things we have happening. We got the 30th anniversary celebration. We're going to do Friday. We got the kickoff that we're going to do Thursday, and then we have the closing ceremony on Saturday. So. And he loves it. I mean, he eats that up. By the time that weekend's done, he is toast done because the energy he brings is so much.
And his son Connor's a star. I hope Connor's coming in.
Oh,
it's star. He's got a star.
I don't know if he's coming. I hope he is, but
But you know what? But Connor's carrying that torch. But to go back to Ty, he came a direct, I'm going to guess around 2011, probably 2012, because I was big with the PWA before then. And he's at the bar. He's so enthusiastic. He's got a crowd around him, people around him. And he's talking about the PWA and what he can give back as a director. And people should get involved. And he comes over to me and he's like, hey, you, why don't you become a director yourself? Because it's such a great way to help this org because you give him back. He gave me this whole spiel. And I said, you know, Ty, I was a treasurer for this org back in 2005. Because you were? That is the only thing I find that these orgs don't do well. They got to keep the history out there. Because history, you learn so much from, like our country does. You know, the forefathers, you know what happened. And the history goes back and forth. But when I told him that, he actually told me in 2012, Bo goes, hey, you were? Yeah, I was treasurer. I did 3 years. I moved on, but I'm still following the org. He actually told me, why don't you run for the board again? He was so pumped up. And that's a big thing because, you know, Bo, you know this. When I was a director way back when, there's nothing more rewarding than when a guy comes up to you and says, you know, we all want to make money, but when a guy comes up to you and says, you know, like Tony Zabog is another guy I can mention, does water towers around the country. He came up to me in 2004 and thanked me for the board position I took.
And Tony's going to be there, I think, the last time I talked to him.
Yeah, great guy. He's been in my house here before. But you get, Bo, you know this. I mean, you rose all the way to the top. The guys come up to you and there's such an impacting thing because you can remember, like you remember talking to Ty. You don't get this on Facebook. When you go to these conventions, it's so impacting that when you come out of them, you want to run, you want to roar. Big thing.
Yeah,
big thing. And people
no,
go to these
absolutely.
things because go back to the Billy Joel concert. When I go to his concerts, you know, it's unbelievable to watch him play for 2.5 hours. But to watch him on a computer, I'll go to sleep. So when you go to these conventions, they're impacted. As Bo can tell you, they're impacted to the point that Bo got so excited he rose all the way to president. You were probably never. You got involved. You probably never thought I am going to stay with this thing all the way through, and you did.
Yeah, well, there were other people that helped with that. And you know, look, when I went to my first convention, I went because in the market that I was in, I was like a newbie in the market. You know, I had moved 10 years previous. I had moved to that market, started transition from my painting business to power washing. And the local guys that were there didn't like a new guy coming in. It's very tight-knit local guy, you know, kind of market. Right. And they started ripping my company, telling lies. We're not this, we're not that. And I knew what I knew. Right. And eventually I just told Meg, I said, you know what? And she had gotten an email from, or gotten in contact with Allison Hester and then Jackie from, you know, who was the executive director at the time, and mentioned this PWA thing. And I'm just like, okay, classes, certifications. And I just said, you know what? Let's go. I want to know what I don't know.
That's right. Big.
And come to find out, and this rings true today, even still, the majority of the attendees at any of these events, over 50% are newbies.
Yes.
Okay. New people coming in that have no idea. Some of them have no clue what they're doing. Others, you know, are trying to improve based on a year, 2 years, maybe 3. Well, after I went to my first couple of classes, I realized, you know what, I know more than most of these guys here do. Right. And it just kind of naturally came to me. I said, you know, and I listen, and I had people surrounding me outside of a class, my first class that I just took, because the instructor was one of my competitors who said, oh, by the way, he knows what he's talking about. And all of a sudden I'm like, you know what, I could start giving back to this thing based on this experience alone. And, you know, that's how it all started. You know,
it's funny you said that because I got Flatwork certified through the PWA. I don't know, it was 2016, 2017. And Andy Reisner was teaching the class. He was the president, I think, back then, or somewhere around there. And he actually was teaching the class, and he sees me in the back of the room. He says, you know what? John Benny should be teaching this class. because I've been doing this for so long. But I went to his class because, and this is why I go to the convention still, because I'm looking for something he can give me, like a golden nugget. And Ty talks about that all the time. And I got something from his class. He taught it with Harrison was a director back then. And I'm sitting in the back of class, and I picked up something in there that I brought back from my company because, especially now, I don't want to go negative, but the country's got a lot of stuff going on, so I won't go there. But every golden nugget you can pick up at these things puts you ahead of the curve, ahead of your local competition. And I learned that at these conventions, and I'm sure you learn the same thing. Well, you've been around a long time, you're still picking up information, and education is key.
Exactly. Every time. Something little, doesn't matter. It could be one little gadget or one little change in how you roll your hose up. Whatever it is, who knows? That can save you more time or just change the way you do something. Something I learned a long time ago. A guy told me he had a multi-million-dollar roofing company, and he hired this guy. He said it was a homeless guy he needed a job. He hired him, paid him $7. This is back in the 90s. Paid him $7 an hour, but he had experience, being an apprentice on a roofing crew. And he said, I watched him clean up in a systematic way that changed how we cleaned up from there on out. From a homeless guy that was just getting paid $7 to $10 an hour, or whatever it was, taught this $1 million roofing company how to clean up more efficiently.
Wow.
That's the kind of stuff that you got to pay attention to.
You got to pay attention. So we got some people posting here. Jim Mahano saying investment is knowledge is the best investment. Yeah, you know what? People like to knock education. I push my daughters to go through college, but education, every field you go in, is the most important thing because, look, whenever you think you got it figured out, someone like Bo or someone else is already past that. So you want to keep getting education is key. We're also going to ask, what about certifications at the event, Bo? You want to talk about that a little bit? You got some certifications going on? Got a lot of them going on.
Well, yeah, we have all of our standard certifications. I mean, you go down the list. The good thing about, we have everything's online now, but to achieve a full certification through the PWNA, you do have to go and have the hands-on training and experience at the event. Prerequisites are all the safety classes we have. All of that done by Expert Safety Services, but the certification classes are all there. Everett Abrams is going to be there with John Neron doing the wood. AC Lockyer is going to do the roof. I'm doing the house with James Pasternak, and we brought in Mike Dingler and Raymond Burke to help with that as well. We've got 2 classes, I think, for the house wash. Andy's doing the flat work. We've got environmental, we've got DOT. We're going to have a DOT representative who's a former retired New York State Trooper DOT guy.
Yeah, I got to talk to him.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Right.
So you name it, we've got it. Listen, there isn't any technical class out there that we don't have that's relevant to the industry now. Yeah, and all of the stuff that we've put together has been put together by really the top and most experienced veterans in the industry. Let's just accumulate hundreds of years of experience between all the instructors that have helped put together the classes we have.
I'm looking at the schedule here. I see Michael Draper. He's iconic in our industry with safety, but he's also going to step out of the box. He's doing an environmental certification. It says Michael Draper, so he's going to teach about environmental certification. That guy knows his stuff. Here's what surprised me. I haven't talked to him in a while. Paul Laramie, I've known him. I met him at Tom Vogel's event in probably 2008, ACR Products. He's very good at fleet washing. He's doing a fleet washing certification. Fleet washing's huge. Fleet Wash the company, right, Bo? Fleet Wash the company. They're huge. They're swallowing up companies. I know they bought quite a few companies. I think Raymond Burke's company is also swallowed up by Fleet Wash. You got this golf outing going on Thursday. Thank you, Liette. Liette's feeding us information and put on the side here. So one of these, like you're going to raise money, right? Which one is it? Do you know? One of these events.
What's that?
One of these. I don't know if it's a golf event.
I don't know if the golf event is raising money, but we are raising money for a foundation for cancer.
Yes. I talked to Leanne about that because what happened to her daughter. God bless her.
Yes.
But what is that? You remember what is that the golf? The schedule. I know you got so much going on.
I honestly, Liette could chime in and she knows better. Liette is she's
great.
This ship is being driven by Liette, believe me. And I've been so distracted the last 6 weeks with personal stuff
I know you got
with my son Jack.
There's 3 females I met. Look, I have daughters and sisters. There's 3 females that I have met in the industry, quite a few, but these 3 stick out to me. Is Liette. She's a taskmaster. You tell her something. I asked her a question today. Boom, she gave me the answer. The other one was, of course, Meg. When something came up, I would go to her. Boom, done. And the other one's Debbie Murray. Debbie Murray's the seated director. Whenever I went to her, even had some issues with the room and stuff going on, and she's like, John, let me get back to you. Boom, it gets done. So these are people involved with these organizations that you can meet them, you can talk to them. And that's so important to the success of your business because these people, and these are ladies like Joy Miller. Joy Miller's great. Trish Green, they've been at your place in Delaware. I met them there from Canada. There's so many great people. I find that some of the females got really, Marie Ryan, so they have really, really strong mindsets that they are willing to look. Come on, let's be real here. This is really a man's world in this industry because it's 95% men. But the ladies that come in here, I learned so much from them that it's invaluable to me. And one of them is Liette. I mean, Liette's told me so much the past year.
Well, let's call it a man's world that's enabled by the women in their life. And let's be real here. I mean, look at you and what you're able to do. I'm an example of that as well. Meg, who, look, oh, shoot. What's happening here?
Cool. Can you hear me, Bo? I might have lost Bo. Yeah, my wife, Kathy, pretty much runs our company. I started the company. She runs it. She does all the scheduling. Let me see what we got. I think I might have lost Bo on here. We got Bo. You're back. You're back.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. Yeah, I was just telling you leg way into with the females. In my company, I know Bo's as well with Meg. Meg was doing a lot of stuff with the company, taking charge. In my company, my wife got Tony Zabog is the one who told me. He goes, John, get your wife involved. And I wouldn't get my wife involved because me being Joe Man, I'm Joe Guy. I'm like, people call me, they want to talk about somebody who does this. But boy, was I wrong. So today, people, I'm very honored to say this. My wife runs the whole company. She runs it all. So I can do stuff like this with Bo. I can go to conventions. My thing with my company is, our company, I started it, but it's our company now, is when there's a problem, I'm the guy that's got to go down there and handle the problem. That's my job. That's my job.
So that basically is the same situation with Meg and I now. And again, I was pointing out that it's a man's world here, but the man's not able to do without the proper woman in their life. If wife, girlfriend, whatever, helping them do this or enabling them, some of these companies don't exist the way they do. And I've had guys, very successful guys, friends of mine with successful companies come to me and say, how in the world do you work with your wife? And I say, well, you know what? Without her, we wouldn't be where we are. It's just the truth. So, but that's my position now with my company is any problems, issues, I deal with them, but the company runs more or less without me, the way you just described.
Yeah. What makes you laugh? You started your company. Did you start it with Meg or you started on you were a painter way back
then? Well, we were married, yeah, but I started it and it was just me. I mean, with a notepad and a phone hanging off a ladder, doing everything, yeah.
Me too. I remember being on a 32-foot ladder, like Rob Huffman. I was up there talking. If I would have showed the picture, Michael Draper would have been, John, you're going to die.
Oh, no. The stuff that I did, Draper would be finding me right now through OSHA if he saw some of the stuff I was doing.
Oh my God, the stuff I've done. You know what? Me and Bo are here to survive and tell the story. But you know what? I'm hitting a blank. What the guy's name is. Who fell on a roof for the UMCC. God, I've known him for a long time. He fell one time. Oh God, I wish Ron was on this show. He fell one time. He contacted me, John. I fell off a roof. I'm okay. I got a concussion. He fell 3 months later and died. And the stuff he was
Yeah, I remember the
doing,
guy. I don't remember his name, but I remember.
yeah, I can't remember his name. But what he was doing, I was doing. I didn't know about these safety classes, stuff like that. But when I look back on this stuff, it's funny how these things all work out. So you started your company pretty much. I started my company. At the end of the day is, and really comes from Tony Zabog, who told me, John, get your wife involved. Now, a lot of guys can't work with their wives. I mean, a lot of guys don't want to do that. But when I listened to him, and today, Kathy is so great with the phones. She clearly runs the company, and I don't have a problem with that. I'm good with that. She wants to run the company.
Well, listen. Let's not pretend it doesn't put a strain on your marriage or a strain on your relationship.
Absolutely,
because you end up just talking about work. But here's the deal: nobody is going to look after that company the way your wife does.
That's right.
Period. The bottom line.
They understand the bottom line.
Yeah.
And that's the way it goes. And you know what? I'm sure, Bo, you feel the same way. I love the way I train my guys like you trained your guys. My guys are so well trained. They've been with me such a long time. And I feel pleasure knowing that they do such a great job. I consider it like this. Bo, I'm sure you feel the same way. I felt like I was the best washer at one time. And I'm sure you felt the same way. I train my guys so good. I consider them like Mike Trout in baseball. That I'm 61. My guys are so good. They're so good that, I went through a lot of guys to get where I got today. But eventually you find these aces, and now you got to train them and teach them. And you know what? You have to get off your high horse and think that as good as you were, and Bo, I know you're a bull. As good as we were, you can train these guys to be better. And that's the honor I take with my company. My guys are so good that I train them, and I train them from what I learned at the PWA conventions over the years. I trained them exactly what Michael Hinterlader taught me, what Andy Reisman brought up, with Dow Mercer, all these people back then. I brought that back to my company, and I was like a go-between to teach my guys, and that's how I learned. That's how we.
I'm surprised you mentioned Mike Trout instead of Aaron Judge. You being a New Yorker.
No, come on.
Based on this shit, come on.
Well, I'm a Met fan.
Oh, well, that explains it then.
Well, yeah. I'm a lovable loser fan. I'm a Jet fan. I'm a Met fan.
But so you're screwed. You're screwed always then if you're a Mets and Jets fan.
Yeah, but you want to know something? Here's one thing: that Aaron Judge is going to be on the Mets next year because listen, I can tell you why. Steve Cohen, the guy that owns the Mets, is the richest owner in sports in America. He's from here, from Glen Cove. The guy started his own hedge fund company. He's worth $15 billion. You better watch out. I watch what you. I see what you and Flip are doing on Facebook. You're talking about the Eagles. We can buy stuff. That's just professional sports. So I think Steve Cohen's going to end up getting Judge. I told people that if he doesn't get Judge is going to California. The Yankees' days are numbered because they're all like, we're going off course here, but we could talk.
Yeah, we are going off course. I'll be right back. Give me 30 seconds. I'll be right back. Go ahead and talk.
All right. Guys, that's the PWA president right there. He's a regular guy. We could talk sports. We could talk shop. And I met Bo I actually met Bo at the huge convention. So I go to multiple conventions a year myself because I want to keep learning. Alejandro Prado says, hi, he won something before. Peepin De Hughes hit 62 today. Hey, you're 62 years young. I'm 61. I told people, I was law enforcement for 25 years. This is my 27th year running my power washing company. I'm doing 19 more. My father just sold his company. I'm going to go to at least 80. Papillon de Jesus. So you have to get the right people in place. Staley and Sons Power Wash from Ohio. Glad to see you on the show here. I'm going to give away a hat. I'm going to give away one of my. No, I'm not from New Jersey. These are the best hats you can. This hat's great, but there's no other hat better than this. It weighs 1 ounce. I'm gonna give one of these away tonight, right now. I'm gonna give away the hat. I've already given J-Lock a PWA. Bo, watch this. I'm gonna give him a see the hat PWA. See the PWA. Anyway, J-Lock, you got one of those. Send me your address. On these hats, we have a problem that's going on in the country, supply and demand. These are from North Vietnam, and these hats. Bo, you have one of my jersey hats?
I do, but they're at the
Yeah.
other place.
This is from FinPrint. They couldn't get them now. They took care of these hats. I'm going to give a hat away right now. And Bo, you look yourself. For the first person that can tell me here, what is Bo's position with the PWNA? I wish college was this easy. Even Bo's trying to figure it out. Bo wears so many hats.
I get.
Bo's got so many hats going on. He's like, which one am I? Yeah, I'm doing this.
Yeah, right.
All right, we'll have to look for that one. So a hat's going to go that way to the first. Oh, Pipion director. Got to be more specific. He's an executive director. I'll tell you that. Somebody says Bo's a master. Bo, are you a master of your domain? You ever watched Seinfeld?
Yeah, I do. What I've seen every
Don't answer
episode.
that question. Master of your
No,
domain.
I'm not answering that question.
That's a little towards X-rated. Yeah, Bo's very up there. Big. Somebody said you're a big Kahuna. He's a big Kahuna.
A Facebook user.
He's big in person too. What are you, 6'3"? How tall are you?
6'2".
6'2". He's a big dude. Big Kahuna, master director. Come on, somebody. Oh, Joe Chapman says, hey, Joe, I think you got one of my hats. Joe Chapman says, President. Joe, tell me if you have a hat. I don't want to, give your whole family my hats. If he's got one of the hats. I think Joe Chapman won a convention pass, possibly. And speaking of that, people, if anybody here could tell me, somebody won the Jade Racing sprayer, and I gave him the Doug Apps link. They never got back. Now, Pepe, hang loose. We're going to give away convention pass in a minute. Joe Chapman, I think, tell me what you won. I think Joe Chapman might have won the hat. I know. Oh, he wants to give it to someone else. Bo, what's a question to give away one of these hats? Come up with something.
Whew. I don't know. Trying to remember what we've talked about to this point.
All right, well, let me ask this question. What did you start out as?
Okay. Well, yeah. What here you go. What was the first year I went to a PWNA event? I mentioned that earlier. Better yet, who was the first person I met and talked to at that PWNA event?
That I know. That I do know. Well, Pipion's saying 2008. Was it? What's the first year you went to a PWA convention, Bo?
2013.
Okay. 2008. What is the first person, Bo? Let's give a little hint here. I think is he becoming president? Yes, he is. Hey, guys, give you a little hint. Go to pwa.org. Look at the directors. He's the vice president.
He's got a son who runs his company who's very popular on Facebook.
Yeah, he's very popular. They do
and he's from California.
Yeah, they do. Their company's got like 70 employees. They're huge. They do high rises. His son's name is Connor. I wish college was like this. I went to a 2-year school, 4 years. Nobody could beat me in pool. Nobody could beat me in Space Invaders. I never got my degree. It wasn't this easy. Someone says Ty. Not fair for me to comment. Ty. I don't know who that Facebook user is. Can you see it, Bo?
Can you hear me? Oh, there you
yes.
go. Okay.
Yeah, some Facebook users.
What's going on? Yeah. Yeah, Ty. There you go.
But who's the Facebook user? Not fair.
I don't know.
Is that Ty? All right, let's go another. It says not fair for me to comment. All right, let's give out another one. What is a certification class that Bo's teaching at the PWA convention? It's very common in residential world. Come on. What is Bo Josetti, the PWA president, with Raymond Burke teaching the Silver State Al Boniface? He's the seated president. Oh, it's Al. Hey, Al. You have seated president here.
So Al's on here?
Yeah, he's saying, Al. Hey, Al. Great guy. I'm hoping to meet him for the first time at the convention. All right, Papillon, you're correct. Papillon de Jesus, send me your address. Look, last week or 2 weeks ago, my show, somebody from Canada won my hat. These hats are going to run you about $25 a piece. It costs you $35 to send it to Canada. Papillon de Jesus, I hope you're in this country, but nevertheless, I'll send it wherever you're at. So he won. Hit me up on a PM. He's got house wash, right, Bo? Is that the right answer?
Correct.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I'll also be doing an HOA property management segment with Raymond Burke, and I we'll be doing the with Trudy Wickham the paint issues. Yes, we've got some good information and some updates there. And let me just touch on that real quick here. That is an issue that we are not going to get away from anytime soon. I've created a relationship with Sherwin-Williams to start documenting some of these issues,
right,
and try and come up with a solution, because it's not just it's all the manufacturers of paint, and it's not just bleach-based soaps that are creating problems. It's pretty much everything, depending upon the line of paint and what it is, and it's a real problem.
Let me tell you how important that is, because I'm glad you brought that up. That's going down. Now, I was on with Trudy earlier. I circled stuff going on. Thursday, October 13th. Unfortunately, I can't make it. Maybe I'll skip out of my garage class. At 3 o'clock, you have the PWA technical discussions on paint issues with Trudy Wackman and Bo Josetti, 3 to 4 o'clock. Let me tell you about, and you know this, I'm going to tell you nothing you don't know. I know people lost $50,000 and stuff like this because they changed the color of these large houses. One of the guys going to the convention, I'm not going to bring up his name here because he's very private. He's also restored one of the New York Yankees, the Steinbrenners, but their partial owner lives out in the Hamptons, restored their house. I told him to go to this class because this is such a big thing right now in the industry, because, if you're going to clean painted houses, which we do all the time. I know the Blues got problems. I know Sherwin-Williams in the middle of this thing. And Trudy started this, Bo, I think 8 years ago, and now Bo is involved because you make the connections. I can't recommend this class more enough, because this class, if you screw up, that could sink your company. You're done.
No, it could for some of the smaller guys, definitely. And just understanding on what your responsibilities are and how to deal with. I just dealt with this. We did a community, 175 homes, and I had 2 homeowners with issues saying to me, "This is from the power washing."
Right.
And I knew damn well it wasn't. And I had to go through I had to meet with them. I had to meet with my Sherwin-Williams rep. I had to have a conference call with the HOA and explain everything on what the proper cleaning procedures are for hardy plank and what we actually do. The one lady was like, "Well, you're going to repaint my house." I said, "No, I'm not." Okay.
Right.
And they understand now, based on knowledge of those surfaces, the proper cleaning recommendations and where we are now. And knowledge is power. So, yeah.
So, you know what, guys, me and Bo could talk for 2-3 hours. Bo knows I yap a lot, but we could talk all night about this stuff. But we're going to end the show in a minute or two, because really, the end of the day here is, can't express this enough. Go to the convention. You write it all off. Talk to people like Bo, myself. I'll be at the bar. I'm sure Bo will too, because we network over there. We're all going to go to dinner.
No, John, I stopped drinking. Yeah, I won't be at the bar.
Yeah, me too. Look, I quit drinking myself. I'm drinking water.
Well, just so everybody knows, before we end the show here, I will be drinking out of this for the rest of the night. You know, the only undefeated team left.
Oh, I knew. Wait a minute. Where's your PWA glass?
I changed it. That's what I went and did a little bit ago. Yeah,
You and
had to
Flip.
change it.
You and Flip with the football stuff.
Yeah, it's
all
all you
good.
Cowboys fans, all you haters. I get
I
it.
don't like the Cowboys. I'm not a Giant fan either. I'm a lovable loser. I like the Jets. What can I tell you? Joe named this a fought back. I go. But Bo, let's think of a question. And I'm looking here, Pepion De Jesus. You got a hat coming. You're in Florida. I don't know if you have a convention pass, but we're gonna do a convention giveaway right now. And me and Bo didn't really talk about this before. Bo, what do you want to? What kind of question can we propose to them?
So we're giving away a convention pass. That's kind of
nobody told Bo he's the president.
I know that was your goal every time you did a show.
Yes.
It just
what can we give away?
I'm gonna think here.
Well, Bo's thinking, guys, I'm telling you, listen, Liette and I had this conversation. I had this conversation with Carlos Gonzalez.
So at convention next week, one of the bigger events is going to be the anniversary of the PWNA.
Good one.
What year anniversary is that going to be?
That's a good question.
It's a good question, and I might just make it easier to answer, given in a second.
You're going to give the year, aren't you?
Why would I do that?
I don't know. Facebook.
Somebody just got it. He's got it already.
Oh, yes, he's right. Yes. Hey, Jesus. I'm probably saying his first name, Papan. He won it. He won it.
So it is the 30-year anniversary of the PWNA. We are bringing back as many available past presidents as we can. I am not sure yet if, Robert's going to be there or not.
I'll call him into the show.
Well, I've talked to Michael that, his health is a little in question. So but Michael was going to do everything he could to get him there. Michael will be there. Everett will be there. Those are past presidents, and we're going to have a little bit of a celebration there. We're going to acknowledge them. And, for the industry, there's so many, there's still so many people out there that don't want to recognize or acknowledge, nonprofit organizations that represent the industry. And that's a mistake. Just an example right now is dealing with this paint issue. Right. This paint issue is a big problem. And the only way we're going to get any real representation or gain any grounds with the painting manufacturers is through an organization like the PWNA. And I've established that connection. They've recognized that we are the educational standard for the industry, and they are willing to work with us to talk about solutions instead of just washing their hands and saying no, we're out. And this kind of thing is exactly what a nonprofit organization was built for. Why we're here. We represent the industry. We represent the best cleaning standards and the proper ways to do things. And, everybody that's on a board of directors is a volunteer. Yes. We're not getting paid. We're doing this, because we're giving back.
Big.
And so it's important to get that support from, and look, and we're sitting at the highest membership numbers ever by far. We're approaching 500 members. When I joined the organization in 2013, we were around 150, so the stronger we are, the better we are bringing the industry together. It's what's important. This is not an industry that is sustainable, following and allowing the YouTube warriors and the chlorine cowboys to be the standard bearers of what we do.
You know what? I'm going to end it on that because everything Bo said is 100% correct. The strength is always in numbers. At the end of the day, when I was a union president way back when, you're going to end up dealing with government in here. They're always floating around here And the only way to get your voice heard is you got to have the mass people on the same page, so you become a voice of one. And that's exactly what Bo's saying here. And it was Bo's idea. I'm going to tell you, people, and Bo, I'm not here to kiss any ass. You know me, I'm going to tell you straight. I've been involved with the Orcs since 2000. He's been the best president I ever served under. And I served under a lot of those guys. And I know them all. From Brad Carey, the second president, all the way up, Mike, Robert Hinterland, I can call him. Joe Walters has some house where my son, winter house is. But Bo's 100% correct. I can't add to that. I mean, we got to stick together, people, because our industry matters. We matter. And if we don't bond together, to go out there by yourself is always a losing battle. But I want to thank you tonight. You want to close out anything else? I mean, really appreciate you coming on tonight.
No, that's pretty much it. You know, bringing the industry together to move the industry forward. It would have never even been considered years ago to have an event with multiple associations the way we are.
Right.
And this is where we need to continue to go. And look, I'm going to be the past president after next week, but I'm not going anywhere. So
you're not going. I told somebody tonight, Bo, they said to me, John, Bo's been a president. What happens? Is he going to leave? I said, that guy is not going nowhere. And you heard it here.
I'm not going anywhere.
All right, Bo, thank you. Great show tonight, guys. Thursday night will be me and Ron talking about the PWNA for the last show. You know, that's not a Tuesday tournament. And Bo, salute, bro. I'll see you in PWNA convention.